and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name, because why not? Have a Wiggins much? My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Wishes you rest from the heat, whatever heat that might be, and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including but not limited to Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Grimm, and the Marvel's Netflix series, including Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. We've published several multi-part looking back to look forward series, including The X-Files from its inception through its revival, our Fuller House series, our American Horror Story series, and our Gilmore Girls Life series. Plus, a bevy of new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, New Girl, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The 100, Doctor Who, Orange is the New Black, and the originals, a final visit with our Broadchurch panel to say goodbye to the mystery drama from across the pond. We'll be launching a new panel covering Lemony Snicket's unfortunate events, and because we also look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at Marvel's Agent Carter. What's more, CPU from time to time goes live. We've appeared at Comedy Outlet Mondays, at Dog Story Theater, and at Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, while streaming live on Facebook. More live appearances are being planned, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we're always seeking new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, just don't put a stake in it. We don't want to be dusty. Today's panel and I are continuing a new Looking Back series in honor of the 20th anniversary of one of our all-time favorite shows. This Looking Back series will, in fact, cover a universe of two shows, the primary and the spin-off, a universe that I think it's safe to say we all love dearly and hold very close to our TV-loving hearts. As such, this is the second of 5 CPU episode discussions in which we will be reflecting upon this cult favorite pair of shows that have only gained more traction and fan following as time has passed. The shows in question, of course, they're Buffy the Vampire Slayer and its spin-off Angel. Today, in the second episode of our series, we will be discussing seasons 4 through 5 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Just to refresh the listener, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is an American television series created by Joss Whedon under his production tag Mutant Enemy Productions. The series premiered on March 10, 1997 on the WB and concluded on May 20th, 2003 on UPN. The series narrative follows Buffy Summers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, the latest in the line of young women known as vampire slayers or simply slayers. In this story, slayers are called or chosen by fate to battle against vampires, demons, and other forces of darkness. As a young woman, Buffy wants to live a normal life, but as the series progresses, she learns to embrace her destiny. The Slayer's mystical calling endows her with powers that dramatically increase physical strength, endurance, agility, accelerated healing, intuition, and a limited degree of clairvoyance, usually in the form of prophetic dreams. Buffy receives guidance from her watcher, Rupert Giles, played by Anthony Stewart Head, who is rarely referred to by his first name, and is a member of the Watchers Council, whose job is to train and guide Slayers. Giles researches the supernatural creatures that Buffy must face, offers insights into their origins, and advice on how to defeat them, and helps her stay in fighting form. For a more detailed plot summary and or to read or hear other entries in the series, check out the blog. If you didn't already know, you can click the floating box at the top right of the header, the picture with the TV watcher, and search for any blog entry or prior podcast episode. One of those handy perks of modern technology. In the meantime, today, in the second part of our 5-part discussion, our robust panel of Whedon scholars, specifically Kallie, Sarah, Kyle, and Nick, have all returned to talk about the finer and less fine points of the Buffy-Verse in another chapter of our Looking Back podcast episodes, wherein we review a show that has been gone, either via natural end or cancellation, for some time. In this episode, we will be focusing specifically upon seasons 4 through 5 during the show's middle period and arguably the height of its popularity. It should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire series of Buffy and may discuss sensitive plot points and may actually branch into Angel as we learned the last time. So for those of you who haven't watched Buffy at any point, which is just really beyond the ability for me to believe, listen at your own risk. Watch the show, listen at your own risk, and then beware that there might be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you all today?
Good.
Well.
Yeah.
Are you well?
Yeah.
Well.
Doing well. Doing well.
Where's my... Oh, there it is. Great! So today we're going to be talking about seasons 4 and 5 of Buffy. This is otherwise known as the college years of the series. And we're just going to launch right into it. If you listen to our last episode, you'll recall we have some various fan levels in the room. If you'll just quickly remind us which character you identified with and why, that will kind of help lay the land.
Kallie is Buffy.
She loves it.
I love Buffy. I loved it since the pilot when I was a teen, and I watched it and hardly missed it, and I love it.
Sarah is Angel.
Because
me and David Boreanaz have the same abs. Just kidding.
wow.
Whoa.
Back then or now?
Let's say now he's kind of...
Probably now then, I guess. I don't know. He has still got it going on.
He does still
Do you
got
watch
it.
Bones? He ages like a fine wine that way. He looks
Agreed.
better.
Yeah, but James Marsters looks like he hasn't aged at all.
He's
That's true.
also true.
That's true.
He probably really is a vampire.
He might be. No, I said Angel because I love it, but I have a complicated relationship with it. I didn't love it 100% of the time, but I always respected it
Fair
in
enough.
the morning.
I'm Kyle, and I was Giles. Especially this season, there's things that frustrate me out of the entire arc more in this season, but I still love all the characters and all their little threads.
I believe I was a combo of Giles and Willow.
You were, and judgment ensued.
Judgment and
Did you have a third? I thought you had a third, too.
Can you ever pick one?
I used to only pick one.
Man, babe.
This one was tough.
This
This is tough. I'm torn.
And we should remind the listener that Sarah and Nick are a husband and wife unit.
We're married.
And Kyle and Kallie are related to yours truly by marriage. They're my in-laws, siblings-in-laws.
That's a lot to name Kylie, Kallie, Kyle.
Yeah.
Got a
This
whole
is
thing
the-
going on.
yeah.
Kind
this
of your
is-
family's MO, guys.
It is. She's not wrong. Thanks, Sarah.
I do what I can.
So let's talk about Buffy. If you listen to the first episode in this series, you might recall that this is more of a deep dive. This is not one of our typical water cooler panels where we're talking about the season and judging the story and what did we like, what didn't we like, going from there. This is major deep dive into the episodes. Episodes we liked, episodes we didn't like, how we thought the story handled, because as you might know if you watch Buffy, each season is kind of a little story in and of itself, contributing to a larger one. And so we're going to talk season 4 and season 5 today. We'll start with season 4. In season 4, you might recall that the big bad for the season is Adam. And in this season, Buffy and Willow end up at the University of California, Sunnydale, because apparently
Because that's going to be a thing.
that's going to be a
Let's
thing.
be honest. Very convenient.
Very, very convenient. And they also meet Riley Finn, Mark
Love
Lucas.
me some Riley.
Wow, she sang it. So Angel's gone off to make a spin-off. He's left the show, and in comes a new love interest in Riley. And Riley is the member of a somewhat student-contributed, run by professors, paramilitary organization buried under the campus called the Initiative.
That's normal, though. They always have
Yeah.
those. At every college. They did at my college. I don't know about
They
y'all.
weren't
Really?
paramilitary.
Paramilitary.
They weren't. Were they killing demons?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's totally normal.
Have
I
you
mean,
seen any
Wow,
demons
this is
lately?
more than Michigan State than I knew.
Proud Spartan. Be green. Hey, I went to GV, too.
Okay.
2 degrees.
But you work for a college, so you're saying you don't have a secret organization underneath it?
They must be so secret I don't know about
Shut
it.
up. I bet she's running it.
Yeah.
She can't tell us.
That's why she's like, these don't exist, people.
That's
Move
it.
along.
Plausible deniability.
Guys, how did we start this season? All I wrote down was Witch Willow, which doesn't. I mean,
The season starts with like her first day at college and her meeting her roommate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Kathy, that's right. With
Kathy.
the Kathy, who's a demon, but she's not a bad one. She's just running away from Daddy, right?
Mhm. The first half of this season is essentially Buffy and Willow adjusting to college life.
I gotta say, this was a struggle for me.
Headed right out of the gate, Nick.
Sorry. Well, the season has its ups and downs.
Yes.
But it was really... I feel like the first couple of episodes I was watching with Sarah, I was like, it gets better, right?
Was it because they were in college?
Well,
It just
or how
felt
they
different,
handled it.
Yeah.
It felt way different, and everything that was different wasn't a positive. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't enjoying it or understanding it. I mean, obviously I stuck with it.
Were they trying?
See, that's how I feel about this entire season, though. I feel like the weakest season, the weakest villain, the weakest
Yes.
plot.
Oh my god.
by
We don't
far.
have to talk about the big bad yet. But
Yeah, I almost always
favorite
forget
Big
he
Bad.
exists when I'm thinking about Buffy. I always completely forget about Adam, and then I can never remember, like, oh, what season was that?
I gotta
This
say, yeah,
one.
overall, this isn't my favorite season, but looking at some of these episodes, many of them are ones
Yeah,
I
they are
really
great
enjoy.
episodes.
So
but
the arc,
So, yeah.
it's the arc that I don't like.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
But
It's a
So
struggle.
to respond to a point that Sarah said in the last episode about me and my gravitation toward arcs, not the case in season 4. This is my second to least favorite season after 1, mainly because the arc is the weakest of all.
But it also does have, which I wrote down, one of the, I believe, Emmy-winning
Yep.
Yes.
episodes,
Oh, yeah.
which is by far one of the best episodes in the entire
That's an
series.
essential
I would say
Buffy
almost on
episode.
TV.
On TV, it's
The
incredible.
score, the makeup, everything.
The
is just
acting, they're
amazing.
acting just
Of course, written by Joss Whedon and
Yeah.
directed by Joss Whedon, we should say.
incredible.
So,
Incredible.
to set this up, the gentlemen is what they're called, demons who steal people's voices in the night so they can't scream when they come to get them and
Which is terrifying.
fillet them and eat them.
And they still hold up. They are still freaky. And this is from somebody who watches horror movies every day.
No, I
The
agree.
floating
Yeah.
factor is just so creepy with their smiles, and it's just incredible.
It's
Wasn't
an
this-
essential Buffy episode.
And wasn't this a direct response to some of the critics' biggest issues with Joss's writing? Of, like, the dialogue? and-
Yeah, like this overly snappy dialogue.
Not just him, but the WB as a whole
Yeah.
had that reputation
So he was like-
for using too big of words and all this
Well,
dialogue.
let's not have any words.
Yeah,
and
let's
tell
take it
a
out.
good
And he
story.
said, I can, yeah.
But it also feels like what I think horror movies these days are missing, and what I think,
Yeah.
what it looks like, and why I don't have an interest to see the new Mummy movie, is what they're missing from what made horror movies scary.
Exactly.
That suspense, the building, like sometimes more is less, or less is more.
Make it relatable,
Less
not
is
like
more.
giant spectacles, which doesn't scare anybody. Nobody believes that.
Yeah, it's a very good
So
episode.
it was nominated for an Emmy
Did it not
for Outstanding Writing. I don't believe it did. And it was also nominated for Outstanding Cinematography, which I totally agree with because it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was just visually
Yeah.
very
It was. It's interesting when something that is horror and scary is
Yeah.
also beautiful. But it was well
That's
done.
easily the best episode of the season.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
I-
sure.
I
For
would
sure.
agree.
I
Yeah.
put
Oh, yeah.
big parentheses around
I mean,
it
that's-
and wrote it
and
real
guess
As
what
big.
weak as the
has-
season is, that's probably one of the best episode, like the top 5 episodes of Buffy altogether.
Yeah,
Guess what
absolutely.
it has like nothing to do with.
It would be
Yeah.
in my top 10.
Yeah,
story
yeah,
arc of
yeah.
the season.
And then we get back to random Adam and Professor Walsh, who's
I
crazy
didn't
pants
mind the
and like
character of Professor Walsh a little bit, but I just
Professor Walsh is a psychology professor who Buffy and Willow both take psychology from. And actually, Riley is her graduate
TA,
assistant,
yeah.
TA. And as it turns out, Maggie Walsh is in charge of the initiative and recruits some of these men in her assistants to be the soldiers of the initiative.
and if I remember correctly, the way you watch the season, the way you find out bits and pieces and discover what's going on with the Institute, it's more like it feels like, or it's presented in a way that it just so happens that this teacher and her TA also work here. But after you watch it, it feels like this military compound was built, and they created this college on top of it as a recruitment site, as a cover. Not that they infiltrated, and the military institution came first.
Yeah.
And that's why there is a UC Sunnydale,
Well,
which is
maybe-
like,
All right.
is
I never
funny.
say
but
this, but I like
That's
it.
it's It's the only...
Sure, I'll take it.
It feels better in retrospect, but as you watch it, it seems...
Can I just give
shoddy.
a hint to people that are writing for high school shows? Just throw in some references to a college early on. Then we'll know, oh, you mentioned that in season 1, so that we're not surprised by it, writers. Just a quick reference. Oh, we're going down to the college later. Boom. Done.
There's
Just
one
a
of
thought.
those in
I don't know.
Sunnydale. Got it.
I found it hard to buy that Willow wanted to go there when she was accepted to all the Ivy League
Yeah,
schools.
yeah.
I wanted to be with my friends and practice witchcraft.
But I mean, that's not. Well, I mean,
really
the
just
witchcraft part, but the rest of it is probably not terribly uncommon if you think about it, right?
I
Does
know,
it
it's
happen?
not.
It
It
happens.
just was...
Usually
Especially
people that
'cause-
apply to Ivy League places are pretty
Are
gung-ho
gonna
on
go.
going
They're
there.
gonna
I
go.
mean, it's a lot of work if you're just like, meh.
She
And a
probably
lot
could
of
have gotten in for
application
free.
fees.
Yeah, essays.
Halloween. Did we talk about this?
No.
This. It's like when I remember things, I can't contain them. This Halloween episode was. I have a hard time between the two, between the first Halloween and this one being my favorite.
So set it up.
Yeah, remind the audience.
Sarah's got it in front of her.
So the gang finds himself in a real-life house of horrors while at a Halloween frat party in which a fear demon feeds on their individual fears. Meanwhile, Anya needs Giles to help her save Xander when she realizes something is amiss.
Yeah, so we should mention the relationships. So Buffy and Riley eventually get together. Xander and Anya get together. Anya pursues Xander quite heavily at the end of season 3.
Yes.
She thinks he's the bee's knees. And Willow and Oz start the season, but then Oz leaves, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
but he's
So
not gone yet. And so I love this so much. I love the concept of it. I think it was well done, well thought out. I thought it was funny.
It's one of Anya's
And
best
it's
episodes, too. And she has a lot of great
Anya's
we
episodes.
learn that she's scared of bunnies in this episode.
Her terrifying bunny costume.
Yeah, she dresses up as a bunny costume. That's so funny. And when Willow starts, she's there, and they start getting lost, and she's convinced that she can do these spells that she really kind of loses control of. And Oz thinks he's going to change, and it's just another big hot mess. I love the hot mess.
Is that the one where the punchline is that the fear demon in the book is shown actual
little
size?
tiny,
Oh, that's my
yes.
favorite. One of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, it's good. And it says next to the picture when Giles
What's the
opens
translation?
it up, and the translation says actual size. And he's just this little guy, and they just squash him like a bug.
That's a really good episode.
Really good.
One of my favorites of that season.
That is a really good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
I also like, this is later in the season, but I really like Superstar. And that's where Jonathan... Well, what I like about it is the episode just starts. And all of a sudden, Jonathan is this popular guy that everybody wants to be with. And he's good and rich and cool. And you're like, wait, did I miss an episode?
Yep.
What is happening? And I love that just cold, sort of cold... It's like a cold open, but they never go away from it. Like it's...
Plus the fact that he's inserted randomly throughout the opening credits.
Yes! Yes!
Oh yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
that's
what?
right.
And then you find out that he cast a spell
Yeah.
to make that happen, and then a monster comes and whatever. But I really like that episode. It's a good standalone episode. It could have been in any season, really, and it would have...
And that's why, well, it stands out in this one, surrounded by not.
It
Yeah,
also
that's
sets
a
up
lot.
his future.
It
A
does.
lot of these are standalone episodes, and they're awesome. If they could have found a way to put it together instead of having Adam.
Do you think that the problem with this season is the big bad and the...
It's the initiative.
Initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think they handle it. I find Riley to be the least interesting of
Her.
Buffy's romances. And it's not just because he's human. I just don't think they gave him enough beyond he's a soldier.
Well, I also don't think that her and Mark Lucas quite had the chemistry
Yeah.
that she has with David Boreanaz or James Marster. She has way better chemistry with both those actors than she ever did
Poor
with
Mark Lucas. He didn't have a chance.
No.
But
So you take everything you just said with kind of a weaker plot line, with this weaker idea of the initiative and how they executed it, and it makes it really, really tough.
But
Yeah.
he's so gorgeous.
He's very dreamy.
I just
And
Although I like the vampires.
Is it in this season where you even find out he's addicted to vampires feeding on him, or is that the start of the next season?
That's
that's
the next
next season.
Okay. Yeah.
In this season,
That really made me not like the character.
in this season, you
Kyle.
find out that Maggie Walsh is dosing the initiative soldiers,
To make
Oh, yeah,
them
so that-
and that
stronger.
he's her favorite. Because basically, she's trying to create super soldiers.
Yeah.
Adam
More
is the
Adams.
Frankenstein. Yeah, and Adam picks up the work, and then he puts transmitters in all of them and is able to control them, and Riley in particular. He sees Riley as his brother and Maggie as his mother.
Can we talk about Faith for a second?
We sure can.
Who's in a coma.
Why isn't
This
she
is
dead?
this year's
lot of
girl,
this.
and who are you? This is this year's girl, and who are you?
So she's in a coma for a lot. What
8
episodes are
months,
those?
It's 15, 16.
Yeah,
she's,
So she's in a
8
coma for
months,
most
this
of
says.
this.
This
And
is
then-
after that.
And then
Oh, no,
yes,
you're before
she's
that.
coming, and then she comes back, and she's pissed,
Yeah.
and she's going to.
Switch bodies with Buffy.
Yep, that's one of my favorites too. And again, it has nothing to do with this initiative or anything. It's
Well, let's set this up a little bit better. So first of all,
like
Buffy and Faith share dreams. We find that out in
Yes.
this episode.
Sure, makes sense.
And that's what actually spurs Faith to get awake. And then Faith, the mayor, leaves behind this mystical device that when you put it on her, she puts it on her fingers and puts it up against Buffy, and that causes their souls to switch.
Yeah. That was cool.
And it was good acting by both actresses
Yeah.
to get to play that, because it really seemed like it was Faith in Sarah Michelle's body, and I thought that was interesting.
I
I had to
liked-
watch that.
I liked that.
And it set up a really good arc on Angel.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really it's a 2-part in this, but then it's really a 4-part because then it goes into 2 back-to-back Angel episodes that wrap it up.
Because this season 4, because they're trying essentially to launch Angel and make it successful, you get the most crossovers between the two shows in these season 1 of Angel and season 4 of Buffy. So Angel comes back quite a lot actually in this season as well. I also liked Where the Wild Things Are. This is where we find out that there's a house that used to be a boarding house, and there was a nurse or something that basically thought all the kids were sinning and punished them, and they became like
I
poltergeists.
remember this one. Yeah.
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 Buffy and Riley were having sex in the room and causing the orgasm wall,
And they got caught in
yeah.
there, stuck in there for what, days or whatever.
and it was basically left to Willow and Xander and Anya and Giles to solve the problem.
I always enjoy where the other people have to solve the problem. I don't know why. I just find that fun.
It's almost
That's
like
why
the
they're there.
underdogs.
Yeah.
The underdogs coming in to save them every once in a while.
Have we found out yet that Tara
Tara.
is a witch? We found that out,
Yes,
right?
this is in this season.
All I wrote down was Tara ? I don't like her.
I sure don't either. And
I
I'm
know.
so torn
Well, because
because,
like Oz is just so much more interesting.
and I love that they
She's
were
bland.
trying
Yeah.
to have this LGBTQ plus relationship that was very, very landmark.
It's one of
yeah.
one of the first
But it
openly,
almost,
wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Of its time.
It just almost felt a little forced to me. Like, oh, she's there. Oh, great, it'll be her. Go.
Well,
I don't
especially as
know,
like
it's-
hard as they're pushing the whole she has a crush on Xander thing, and then they just like, oh, Willow's gay now.
That's
Like,
one
it
of the
felt- it
biggest
didn't feel
controversies
natural.
that actually came out of the Progressive, because she had a very meaningful relationship with Oz. And Oz's departure, we can talk about that, because I did not like the way they handled his departure. They gave him a return episode so you could kind of discover this experimental new relationship that she's finding herself in. I like Tara. I don't mind Tara. She's not my favorite, but she's not my least favorite. I don't mind them together. I think they get better. I don't like her as much in this season. She's stuttery and kind of mealy mouth.
and then
a
it
little
kind
bit.
of goes away for no good reason.
Well, I think
because she's with Willow.
She's with Willow.
So she's gained her confidence
a little
or
bit.
whatever.
Yeah.
So Seth Green wanted to leave the show, right? Because he
did.
was getting more
He was
popular.
like producing
Austin
more
Joseph
Powers,
and
Gordon-Levitt
more.
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, it just seemed abrupt and a little forced.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
That's just it. And then
and then convenient. She's a witch too. Oh yay!
Well,
I don't know.
then she finds Tara, and then they have this the New Moon Rising, I believe, is the episode where he comes back. And it's a very touching goodbye. And there's a very good kind of talk about how, I loved you, I'll always love you, now I love her. But then she forgets about him for forever. The only time anyone else mentions Oz at any point throughout the series from then on is Xander makes a one-off in the 5th season about, I miss Oz. And she gives him a weird look. And that's what I don't like about it. It's like, okay, I understand that you have progressed. Let's talk about sexuality is fluid and la 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 la, but you're forgetting all Oz?
It's a
like
struggle.
weird.
Yeah.
It's a struggle for us.
It just needed a better transition, and I wonder if they were so excited about introducing this new cultural thing that we're going to dive into this, that maybe they just didn't plan it out. They didn't think about it. They just, Seth Green wants to leave, we're going to have him leave. Tara's here. She's a witch.
Well, I know
Let's
Joss
do it.
Whedon he always jokes about it in like cons and Paley Fest and stuff that, I can't have a happy relationship. I gotta, break them up somehow. But this one just seemed particularly brutal.
Yeah.
Because Oz finds the werewolf girl and basically cheats on Willow.
Yeah.
Which is like very out of
Yeah.
character
So
for Oz.
bad.
Even
That's
even
right.
saying
So
his
bad.
werewolf, it was like his werewolf side is still like he was very in control.
Yeah.
Very out of character, and then he doesn't handle it well, and
It just gives werewolves a bad name.
it really does.
And I don't want to put that out there.
Those poor
Werewolf
werewolves.
equality.
We are werewolf equality.
We
for
I also
sure.
hate how they
Hashtag.
look in werewolf form. Like, I don't like
Well, Joss
that
Whedon
costume.
hated that too.
Yeah.
He always they always kept saying they look like wombats. Which they
Yeah.
changed, like we keep saying in Angel, he revamped the werewolves so that they're huge monsters and it looks amazing. And I wish they had always done that.
They did, especially at the beginning, and I understand the time that it was, but he almost kind of just looked like a little dog.
Yeah.
Like a little, like I could just punt him. Get out of my, you know what I mean? He wasn't very big. He was kind of, with not very big teeth.
Yeah. The makeup was just their weakest out of all their creatures.
Not their best work.
Not
No,
their best
it
work.
wasn't.
No.
Which
Bless
is a
their
weird-
hearts.
Which is a weird choice for who's a cast member that turned into a werewolf. Usually you focus on one of those.
It seemed
ones.
like they called him at the last minute. We're like, he's a werewolf now, so do you have any, hair patches or anything?
Yeah, pretty
And they were
much.
like, oh, well,
Yeah.
got some felt.
So that's the part I struggle with them. There are not any episodes that I really hate out of this season. There are larger story things that I don't like. I'm not a big fan of the initiative. It's tedious up until the very last few episodes.
Can somebody explain, because this was never clear to me.
Sure.
The first Slayer. What that about, y'all? She's
second.
bad or she's good?
I think she means well.
Yeah.
She was confusing to me if she was good or bad.
That's what they were going for. They wanted you and Buffy to think that it was like this vengeful, but what she's trying to tell Buffy is important for.
But what was she trying to tell Buffy?
So
And it comes into play with her sister
Pick
Dawn.
me!
Oh, you in the purple.
So this was a
Moderate
very
this.
controversial series finale.
Okay.
One of the most controversial. It's Restless, which is 22 of season 4. Because the major climax of the season happened in the second to last
Yes.
episode. What happens in this episode, so in the season finale, when they're taking on Adam, Willow casts this spell, this 4-point spell, where Xander, Giles, and Willow all loan their essences
To Buffy.
to Buffy so that she can then take on Adam, who's got a nuclear power cell. And this magical barrier, she's channeling the first Slayer and all of the power of all of the Slayers through this spell,
Yes.
which makes her strong enough to beat Adam. Because she does that, she breaks down the barrier. And so in the next episode, Restless, when they're all supposed to be having a movie night and kind of chillaxing, they all fall under the spell of this and have this running hallucination where they all see her.
Yeah.
The first Slayer is meant to be ambiguous because what they got into the habit of doing from season 2 onward was setting up the major arc of the next big bad and the last 2 episodes of the season preceding. The first Slayer comes into play with the vision quest that Buffy has in the 5th season. The first Slayer tells her that death is her gift, and that sets up the gift.
Just, I maybe need it more explicit, because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, let's go on. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, she's ambiguous, and she's supposed to be. The only thing you know is that she's the first Slayer, and Buffy's struggle through season 5 and season 6 is where does the source of her power come from? Is she evil or is she good? Because a lot of the vampires, Spike particularly loves to rub in that, for a vampire slayer, you sure seem to act just like us and like all of us and boink all of us and whatever else he says, So, being Spike. Which we should mention that James Marsters becomes a series regular in season 4, and I couldn't be happier about that myself. Because I love him.
He gets his computer
His
chip.
chip in his brain,
Oh,
yeah.
he's got his chip, and he's with Harmony.
Which is
Yes,
He's
Harmony
with
comes
Harmony.
back,
Yeah.
and she's a vampire.
She's a very confused and clueless vampire.
Which
God
is
bless her heart.
Yeah, I really like that. I like its added lightness. You know, she's kind of a bitch, but it's Harmony, so that's how she is, and she's just kind of...
I can't blame her.
Clueless.
She's a vampire now. That's awesome.
I liked her addition.
She's just trying to find her way as a vampire.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always go very well.
And Spike makes her dress up like Buffy.
Buffy.
That's season
like
5.
And act like Buffy.
Is there anything else you want to say about season 4?
I did read that in the first episode, Sunday is the bad vampire.
Yep.
That Joss Whedon's original idea with
The
her.
freshman.
I wish would have found interesting if they did was that she was supposed to be a former Slayer turned into a vampire.
Oh.
Who was?
Just
Sunday,
a
the
regular
vampire, the
vampire,
season premiere.
Yeah.
The one who steals all the freshmen's clothes and stuff.
Which could have been a cooler story and maybe a multiple episode arc. Because maybe this is a more powerful vampire.
That would have been cooler than stupid Adam.
Yeah. I don't know. Couldn't find why he changed it or why that.
Maybe the actress.
Maybe. But
Interesting.
that was interesting.
That was an okay episode. I didn't mind it. I also kind of liked Beer Bad. It was stupid, but it was funny too.
Yeah, it was funny. It was another one of those random little lightheartedness that we get to they get to be kind of silly.
And Xander gets to kind of save the day again, which is fun. He was the bartender.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about his arc. We didn't mention that he doesn't go to college, but he
doesn't
starts out
go?
pretending he's going, or he's hanging around and doesn't say he's not going.
He's just the second one.
He's just hanging out.
He just wants to be around the
But I feel like
peoples.
Buffy and Willow don't know he's not going at first.
Well, he starts the season, he's supposed to be backpacking through Europe.
Oh.
But he doesn't his car breaks down in New Mexico or something, so he has to work his way back with odd jobs.
Why do you need a car to go to Europe?
He was going to go cross country and then go to Europe or something. Or maybe just
I
go
don't think
cross
he
country.
understands how oceans work, but okay.
He's Xander.
I know, yeah. Bless his sweet dorky heart. Bless it.
So the point is, he didn't get further than the Pacific time zone. He ended up coming back and working odd jobs, and that's how he kind of spends the 4th season, is bouncing from job to job to job and kind of having envy over the two that are in college because they're all being collegiate and kind of forgetting about him. Poor sad Xander. But then Anya, he's with Anya the whole time.
When do we get the bookstore? Not
The
the
Magic
season.
Shop
Magic
is in
Shop.
5th season.
Okay.
We're
Are we ready to move on?
Yes, we're ready to move on.
Anything else you want to say about season 4?
R.I.P. season 4.
Well, that's nice of you. So now we move to season 5.
Heck yeah.
Season 5 is again one of the more controversial seasons of... Actually, the next 2 are the most controversial seasons of the show. This season is controversial because we introduce a new character, a very divisive new character. Specifically, this is Dawn, Buffy's little sister that heretofore didn't exist, played by Michelle Trachtenberg. And the big bad on the season is Glory, otherwise known as Glorificus, the hell god Glorificus, who is trapped on Earth in the body of an orderly named Ben.
Which I like it. I think it's weird, but cool.
Okay. And a lot of things happen
Like Glory.
this season. The relationships all basically remain stable except for Buffy and Riley. It's in this season where Riley and Buffy, they kind of grow distant. Because what you really come to realize is Buffy is using Riley like a rebound from Angel. That's really what it boils down to. But the other two couples are stable, Willow and Tara and Xander and Anya. And Glory is after the key, which we find out is green light energy that some monks basically put into Dawn and forged a human out of Buffy's blood, housing the key, and sent her to Buffy to protect, and rewired everybody's memories so that they would think that Dawn existed
The whole time.
the whole time.
What's the key do, Kylie?
The key opens the portal to the hell dimension from where Glory came from, but in so doing, it breaks the barrier between all of the dimensions, and if it's opened, then all the beasties come to Earth, and it's chaos on Earth, and the world ends.
Glory wants to get back in there.
Yeah, because they basically ousted her. She was kind of a bitch back there, like she was a bitch here.
Yep.
She was played by Claire Kramer.
I like her in Bring It On. She is Courtney.
Oh,
And she's a bitch in that movie, too. So maybe
I
plays
really
a
like.
type.
I like Glory.
Can we
I
start
do.
at the beginning of the
Yeah.
season?
Yes, we can. You really like this season?
of 4 and 5, I like 5 more.
This is one of my 3 favorites.
There was a real thin tightrope walk of Dawn of, like, what is going on? Did they just jump the shark? There was also enough of, but what is going on? And that it was tied into the big bad and that whole storyline. It didn't bother me as much, but I was really hesitant with it, especially because I really didn't like season 4. So I didn't mind it.
What about Dracula?
What about Dracula?
Yeah, that was weird.
That episode's...
The season premiere is Buffy versus Dracula.
It is.
And there's some random actor who comes on and plays
It's
the
kind of like a
famous
whole,
Dracula.
like a whole big joke of it. Although I do like the fictional rivalry between Dracula and Spike.
Yeah, Drax, he owes me some money.
Well, Joss Whedon actually did a comic that just like chronicles their entire history.
Oh, for real?
Dracula and Spike, and they're on again like one-upmanship.
Spike's always doing that. He does that with Angelus, too. Yeah, that episode was weird. It's not my favorite.
Well, the fact, like, it bothered me that there were Dracula. Yeah, and then it bothered me that they're all like Dracula fanboys and fangirls, like especially Buffy, who at this point should be so much better than that.
Yeah, she was under his thrall. Until she said no thrall here. I don't know. It was a weird way to start the season.
It was a weird start, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Weird start. It would have been a good middle, okay, not good. It would have been a decent idea for a middle standalone.
Like,
we need
yeah,
to get
like a
away
Well,
from
and the
them.
weird thing is, I remember when they were advertising it, because I watched it in real time, that they made a big deal that the premiere was, we finally have Dracula. Buffy's going to fight Dracula. And so I thought it was going to be this huge epic episode, and it was kind of a big joke.
It was
Yeah.
a huge joke. That's what it was.
The best part I can say about it is that the introduction of Dawn came at the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
She's heretofore not there, and then all of a sudden Joyce says, Buffy, go take your sister with you, and it opens the door and you see them, and then they both go, Mom! And you're like, what the F just happened?
I know. I think it was a very unique idea.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was kind of like that episode from last season with Jonathan, where you're like, what did I miss? Like, was she here the whole time? Did I just not see it?
It's not how they handled it, I guess, was unique, but they've done, like, shows have done that, and it's a horrible thing that shows that is just annoying. Like, I mean, Brady Bunch bringing in cousin Oliver, or Family Ties aging the baby by like 7 years.
But she's not a real sister, though.
And
but we don't know that. So when you
you're
first
talking
watch
about
the
right
you don't know that
in the
for, like,
second
4
episode, it's like,
episodes
what the... Especially not liking season 4 that much, it's like, this is just getting worse.
That's where the controversy comes from, though.
But I think if you take it as a season, it's not like they
And
did it intentionally, they did it purposefully, and it paid off.
Well, and part of it was they were riffing on those shows that you're talking about, like Cousin Oliver, for example. They were doing it on purpose, so it's actually clever.
But we weren't in on the
I was going to say, it's like you don't know until halfway through the season, you're like, you think they just lost their mind.
But that's why I like it. The point down for it, though, would be... They made Dawn as annoying as she could possibly be.
Yeah.
She's real tedious in the first half of the season. She is my least favorite character. Bam.
Really?
I do not like
Really?
Dawn.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't think
In a show that
I don't think she can. I don't think she contributes anything.
I
to the
like.
story.
I don't
He
hate
hates
Faith.
her.
You have some
understand it.
weirdness. I don't understand it.
I think it's good writing then, because I think she's supposed to annoy you.
She is
I
supposed to
do.
annoy
I
you.
think
She's supposed to annoy you, but you're supposed to enjoy the show, and there's a balance
Well, that's
there
true.
of how annoying
But
she
I
might
still
be.
enjoy the
Well,
show.
yeah, and that's
No,
part,
I know, but
part of my
Dawn
problem is they made
didn't
her
have to be that annoying.
They made her Buffy's sister so Buffy would protect her, but she's so obnoxious. I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to protect. That would actually want to
punch her in
protect
the
her.
face.
Yeah.
And you can also write it in
It's
a way
her
where
sister, though. Like, of course she's going to protect her sister.
and you can
Even though
write it
she-
in a way where
you know.
she's annoying to Buffy, but without being annoying to the fans. And that's hard to do. But
And Michelle, whatever her last name
Trachtenberg.
is, I can't say it. She was also pretty young and kind of green too, wasn't she?
No, she had done a lot of stuff. She was on.
She was on a lot of Nick shows
Harriet
and
the
stuff
Spy.
like
She
that.
was on.
Oh, yeah,
Heat.
that's
she
right.
was
That's
Harriet the
right.
Spy.
Yeah.
So she had
But
done
she
a
was
lot
a
of
fan
stuff.
of, and she was the story is she was a fan of Buffy, and they were going to write in this character, and she had her agent call the show so she could get an audition.
I mean, they could have
It's
easily
far
at
from
the
green.
beginning done
Wow.
something like where her mom says, "Oh, your sister's come to live with us." You know, she lived with your dad, but they didn't do it because they
Some
purposely
explanation.
wanted to do all the things Kylie was saying, make fun of that and put the mystery there and make us be saying WTF the whole time. I watched this season live but not religiously like you did. So I didn't know that she wasn't there all along. So that floored me when Nick and I were rewatching it. I knew, so it didn't really. I didn't get to ever see it the way I was supposed to see it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, was it do you remember watching it in real time and thinking, like, where did this person come from?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, she didn't bother me as much
then,
and I think a lot of it has to do with they do write it so that you end up having sympathy for her by the time Gloria's got her mitts in her.
Yeah.
And we're not there yet. We're going to talk about The Gift, but I think that is one of the best hours of TV, period.
Yep, me too. I've got a big old...
That would easily be in my top 10. I don't know where, but it's such a beautiful episode. I just watched it last night again.
For sure.
And it makes me cry. It's really good that they kind of bring her along and they make you sympathize with her. But at the same time, I don't know where that switch happens. And I just rewatched, this is the season I just rewatched. I finished it last night or yesterday. And I can't even tell you as many times as I've seen the series, like, where that switch happens from. Man, she annoys me too. Okay, I feel kind of bad for her.
I think for me it was when you discover that she's a part of... They made her...
The Blood Ties episode?
After Buffy. Yeah, they made her to be... that she's Buffy.
From her blood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like... It's like they're essentially what sisters would sort of be.
So through Buffy's eyes, basically.
So
I think one of the best episodes is The Body.
Hands down. It's an essential.
And this is one of the ones I watched in real time and I was like, what? How? This can't, like, I was floored. Because when you don't watch them all, then you're like, what? Is she really, what? But it was beautiful. And again, written by Joss Whedon, directed by Joss Whedon, and I think he purposely handled some of those more heavy-hitting episodes, but I
have to say that as an adult, and especially since I watched this one within the last week, it crushed me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, yeah.
You know, it's that one is so real. Sarah Michelle's acting is
on point.
Yeah.
So good in that
She's
episode.
amazing. She's amazing.
They're all good. Actually, that episode the part of the episode where Willow is going through a closet, like, should I wear this? Should I wear this? And Tara's just watching helplessly, like, what can I say? Because they're so close. They've known each other. You know, it's a very real episode. And I think it's very relatable to anybody.
For sure.
Does she know during that episode that Dawn is not her sister? When does Buffy find out that Dawn...
I mean,
earlier. So she knows during that. Okay.
Yeah, because her mom figures that out when she goes in for her tumor the first time. Mm-hmm. She has because it's pressing on her brain, and she has a flash that Dawn is not really hers.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and she's got that's one of the episodes has that crazy monster, hospital monster.
Yeah.
Eating up the crazy people or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, listening to fears.
What is that guy? What does that guy do?
He's an extraterrestrial who preys on Sunny.
Yeah, the alien. Riley's still
Joyce
there at that point because he calls the initiative.
Yeah.
Did anyone else think, or am I just really weird, that the fake memories of Dawn and that adjustment to the brain caused the tumor?
It? Yeah, I think that's exactly.
Is that intentional? I can't.
No,
it's now also.
There's an episode where Buffy starts to think.
She does, yeah.
Yeah, and then she resents Dawn.
And I don't think that the monks meant for that to happen. I think maybe just some people couldn't handle those extra memories, and Joyce happened to be one of them. Like, not on purpose, but
probably affected her brain.
Yeah, right. Because it's her child.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes is episode 7, Fool for Love, which you get Spike's
Yes,
history.
This is one of my favorite episodes of the series.
It's also kind of the one where she realizes that Spike has feelings for her, and as he's telling her the story of how he killed these other Slayers,
well,
and
he's
his
kind
fans.
of stalking her at this point.
But I just really love that episode. I mean, for the most part, it's just them two and his flashback, so it's a smaller episode, but it really adds to like what you've seen before, and especially season 2 with Spike.
Because she's asking him how he's killed 2 other vampire slayers. So she's asking him how he did that.
Yes.
And he's walking through all of that.
And especially because, like, with his chip in the last season, he's got kind of a joke, and then you get kind of a glimpse of, oh, yeah, he is formidable. Like, there is, like, he can be jokey and this cool guy, but underneath that,
he's
he
evil.
is a fighter, and he will do what he has to.
Right.
I love that this episode is named for the short play, Fool for Love, which is one of my favorites. which is also about a completely inappropriate love relationship. So there's a little trivia for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that one a lot. Other than the first episode, I pretty much like most of this season. And everything from the body forward is amazing. 16 through 22, all of that, because it just leads up to Glory chasing after Dawn. Mm-hmm. You know, there's also the point where Glory has these creepy crawly little monk dudes, demon dudes, following her as her minions. And at first they try to convince her that Spike is the key. And of course she figures out quickly he's a vampire and couldn't possibly be the key. Then she thinks it's Tara, because Tara is the newest to the Scoobies. And there's a point at which she finds her in the park. Tara and Willow have just had their first fight. It's kind of about how Tara thinks she's just going to turn straight again, which is actually kind of relevant today about fun things. And then Glory catches up and she does this thing where she puts her hands in people's brains to suck their energy, basically, and their mental faculty.
Yes. And then they're left.
And does that to Tara.
I think we have to mention, this is the one right before the body, but it's I Was Made to Love You with the robot girlfriend and Warren.
I will
just because setting up 6.
It's setting up the next villain. And
Sarah's reading my mind.
Yeah, he also makes a fake Buffy robot.
Oh yeah, the
Buffy
creepy
bot.
fake
Because
Buffy.
at the very end, Spike, who's been spurned and crushed the episode right before that, because in that episode, Buffy basically says, I never want to see you, you're weird.
She revokes his invitation.
Revokes his invitation because he's really laid it on. She finds his shrine to her in the bottom of his crypt. It has the creepy mannequin in it.
Oh, Spike.
And there's a whole thing between her, Drusilla comes back, and because she's trying to convince him to be the big bad again. And then Harmony's also there, so there's a 3 thing. But yeah, he comes to Warren at the end of I Was Made to Love You and says, I have an order for you.
I need a Buffy bot.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because I was reading interviews with Joss when he was trying to show what love looks like without a soul. Like, Spike does love her, but because he doesn't have the soul to keep him human, that's all he can do.
Right.
Yeah.
And Warren's important.
It kind of sets up.
Who knew that he would become something?
You wonder if
just
he
like
knew.
Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan's been around since
Andrew's
season
never
1.
been introduced.
And Andrew.
But
Andrew is the
Tucker's
brother
brother.
of the Invisible or the Hellhound or whatever.
Yeah,
from
one of the
Crown.
Hellhounds.
Was he the football player that died?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
Who was his brother?
Tucker.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Tucker's brother.
The Hounds.
You have to wonder if these actors knew, you're going to be pretty important later. Or if they just got a call like, okay, you're coming back.
No.
I think they got the call.
Interesting, yes.
Big ones for that.
Spike he has quite an evolution in this particular season. He starts off with Harmony, and then he decides somewhere along the line that he's in love with Buffy, and then that turns into Creepy Stalker. Mm-hmm. First it's tentative, then it's Creepy Stalker, then he's got the robot, then he ends up fighting alongside them against Glory in a meaningful way and protecting Dawn for her.
Yeah. Him and Dawn always then had a special relationship, kind of.
Yeah, is that next season when she kind of hangs out there?
Yeah, and when Buffy needs her to be in a safe place, she's like, here, you watch her.
Yeah.
Well, Dawn also convinces Spike to break into the magic shop, because they get the magic shop this season. Giles was fired by the Watchers Council and had nothing else to do season 4. That was a running joke that we didn't mention.
Yeah.
They kept joking about how he was retired and unemployed and sad, but then he bought a magic shop because, the owners always die.
I really like the magic. Giles is probably my favorite character throughout.
He's in my
I really enjoy.
I was gonna say, the show definitely suffered when he started having his long absences.
Yes,
that's not till 6.
Yeah.
Yes, but I loved them having the shop, maybe because it took them away from college.
Yeah, it was a great set. It was interesting.
The library at the high school, it took its place basically. It's like another little Scooby hangout place for them to be.
And I love Anya. Probably those are my 2 favorite characters, Giles and Anya, and they.
So you really like the magic shop?
Yes.
She really likes the money.
Yeah.
She does like the money.
She enjoys exchanging money for goods and services.
She plays that part well, because that could easily be an annoying part. I feel like, but
she adds a lot of heart to her, and she's got some really great delivery.
Mm-hmm. the really straightforward, like, I don't really know how to be a human kind of delivery, which is great.
She's also heartbreaking in the body. Like, Willow at some point says, "Why are you so inappropriate?" And she breaks down and says, I don't understand why people have to die and why I feel this way. And that's a very real speech, and she does it very well. So
yeah. Sarah Michelle was nominated for a Golden Globe for The Body, and Joss Whedon was nominated for a Nebula Award for Best Script for that episode.
it's a highly lauded episode. That's one of the major ironies of the show, is that critics loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like, almost across the board. And it had a lot of fan support, but it was buried on the WB. And the Emmys are notorious about snubbing genre shows anyway. There was, like, outcry at the time.
Yeah.
Why are you not nominating
Critics
this show?
were, And Entertainment Weekly named The Gift one of TV's best season finales ever.
So let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Good segue.
I do what I can.
So in The Gift, essentially Glory gets her hands on Dawn.
Poor sweet Ben. I liked him, but boy, he really had no idea.
Yeah.
Except I didn't like his tendency to self-preserve over Dawn in the end.
Yeah.
That was kind of a dick move.
Well, yeah.
In The Gift, the whole setup is Buffy's trying to figure out what it is she can do to get Dawn back. And they come up with this plan, and it seems to be going well, except for Doc, who's played by Joel Grey. For those of you who like Cabaret the movie, he was the MC. That's his big role. He plays this demon that essentially, they meet him earlier over something totally unrelated and unconnected, but he secretly worships Glory in the meantime, and despite their best efforts, he cuts Dawn open and starts to open the portal in question. Buffy makes it up there and realizes that death is her gift, means that if she sacrifices herself, she'll give Dawn a human existence and save the world at the same time.
Makes sense.
And sets up a very interesting arc over season 6 that was also very divisive.
Yeah, when she always thought death is her gift, she thought it as
She was
causing it, rather than this. You're gonna literally save the world right now.
Well, and I love that when she realizes that, and she's just like okay with it.
Yeah,
like it's not over melodramatic. It's
she whispers in her sister's ear, and then
which we get to hear, and one of the lines makes a refrain in the famous season 6 episode. The hardest thing about being in the world is to live in it.
And then
she dives. She plunges to her death. Her blood closes the portal because her blood is also Dawn's blood.
I felt like it was a good ending for a series.
That's what I thought too. I was like, if this show ended on this note, it probably would have pissed some people off. But
Kylie,
pick me. So they thought this was going to be the series finale. The big story is that the WB was ready to cancel it. Even though they had launched Angel, and that was only on season 2, and were prepared to go forward, they thought they were going to cancel Buffy. But another little new network cropped up, the United Paramount Network, and said, hey, we'll take it. And so they bought up the series.
That's
and
when they stopped crossing over, too.
Yes, it is. We'll talk about that when we get there, and we'll say things, but yes. That's why it feels like a series finale. They actually thought it was going to be.
There's a couple moments where I feel like this show suffers because it went on.
You feel like it could have used just that as that. I get to a point where I felt that way a little bit when we get to it, but I really did appreciate when we get to it, the actual series finale. I did appreciate that. And I'm glad that they continued. They could have ended here for me too. I'm glad that they didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm glad she didn't stay dead.
I'm glad she... Yeah.
We wouldn't have gotten the musical episode.
Yeah! Yeah!
This was a really pretty...
they're going to be controversial.
Pretty good.
I don't think they liked the musical episode.
Oh, that's okay.
We have to at least like Spike's song. It's awesome.
I listened to the soundtrack.
I listened to the soundtrack. I've listened to the soundtrack on my iPod since like it came out in 2003 or whatever.
I don't remember his song at all. It made no impression on me whatsoever.
I died
Same.
many years ago.
But all in all,
let me rest.
What do you think
peace.
about this? I think this was a really great season with some really memorable episodes.
It was a lot better than season 4.
Yeah.
It was because of I think Glory was so much better than anything the Initiative had to offer.
Yeah,
She was amazing. I thought she was awesome. She was a great big bad. She was really strong. She was a god, which was new.
And very difficult. Very challenging.
Yeah. And I liked it. I thought it was a great... I love...
Why do you have your head in your
killing
hands?
Buffy.
I'm just thinking of, do I like her better than other ones?
Well, I was going to say, she's better than Adam, but I'd still rate her lower than like the trio and all the other bads.
She was written a little cheesily, so I'm kind of like, well, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, there was times when she didn't really feel like a threat because she was just kind of
cheese-tastic.
I prefer the mayor.
But I did enjoy her, and I liked that Ben didn't know, or he did, or you weren't sure, and then blah. I like that.
She is better than Adam. I would agree with this assessment. I think that the trio, I actually like Dark Willow in this season 6. We'll talk about that, but
I do too.
I do think Gloria is not as good as the first 3 big bads.
She served her purpose this season.
I like that they grabbed a god. That was new. That's new.
Different and hard. It was very hard.
So they're they were trying something, and I think that she was very much godlike.
And I think it was partially because she was so formidable that a lot of people had a tough time swallowing some of the season 6 pieces, because the trio is divisive and Willow's magic addiction is divisive, and but we'll talk about that.
Yes. Can you clarify something for me?
Of course.
What do we refer to the season 2 big bad as?
Angelus, Drusilla, and Spike.
The big 3.
The trio. They're the big 3?
They're the 3.
Did you say season 2 or season 6?
Season 2.
Is Angelus, Drusilla, and Spike.
Okay. No.
The trio is in season 6.
The trio is season 6, which
they
is
call themselves
Warren,
the trio.
Andrew,
They call themselves the trio.
Yeah, that's their villain. That's their big villain name.
What do we call Angelus, Spike, and
I thought
Drusilla?
somebody called them the big 3 at some point, and I
they have 2 names, but I can never remember the second one. The family is one.
Okay.
I cannot remember what the second one is. They had some sort of nickname when they were scourging around Europe.
What were we calling them?
I thought somebody was calling them
the trio.
The 3.
The 3.
Somebody might have accidentally said trio. And
no,
really
there's a group of vampires that the Master calls them that are called the 3.
That's what it is.
That's
rule of 3, guys. Power of 3. That's Charmed.
That is Charmed.
Same network.
True. Same contemporary and everything. I mentioned in the Gilmore Girls episode that there were people that watched Gilmore Girls and Felicity and stuff, and then there were people that watched Buffy and Charmed, and then there were a little tiny bubble that watched both. I was in part B.
I was both.
I was watching Dawson's Creek and Roswell, so that's where I was.
I was
kind of both.
I was in a Buffy, I started with Buffy, and then Gilmore Girls, and then Supernatural snuck itself in there somewhere, and I was watching like all of these things all at
I watched
a span.
none of these shows.
Really?
Supernatural?
Because you were in junior high.
I didn't start watching Supernatural until like
your bedtime was 7:30, so the rest of us were getting drunk and love you. Cut that out, please.
I just started watching Supernatural a couple years ago.
Gilmore Girls.
It was on the CW. Wasn't this?
This
is the WB to
the
see
my Roswell over there too. It's just beckoning.
I love Roswell. I just watched so many, and this was one of them. That was like.
Did you watch WB shows, Kyle?
Buffy
and Angel. Yeah, that's about it.
So yes.
So
he was in group 2.
I feel like I watched the WB when it was like sister.
Every episode.
Did you hear that? He watched Gilmore Girls.
I love Gilmore Girls
because he's that his sisters.
No, girlfriend.
Girlfriends.
I watched every episode of Gilmore Girls.
And I like Luke.
From the very
once you have to watch it for Luke.
You're very Luke-like.
No.
Come on, you did.
No.
Sarah wants to moderate a Dawson's Creek.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Hillary can do that one.
Yes, me and Hill. Kallie. All right, we're in. You got it. My best friend Megan will do it too.
Okay. Good.
It was a little important to me at the time. Anywho, so the season 5 glory gift, Buffy dying, saving Dawn and the world
was miraculous and wonderful.
It was
sad and
amazing,
poignant,
amazing.
Very poignant. Yes, that's a good word, Sarah.
I do what I can.
This was good stuff.
Anything else you want to say about season 5 of Buffy?
R.I.P. Joyce.
Oh, I know, right? Big ups to you. Big ups. Although she does make other appearances later on.
She does.
Then with that said, at this time, I'd like to thank Kallie, Sarah, Kyle, and Nick for joining me once again to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, seasons 4 through 5, as part 2 of our Buffy-Verse series. And now, because we're at the end, I'm going to say something like this. CPU is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play, which means tell us how we're doing, comment, review, put some stars down. We need to know. And also, if you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter, though we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have so many more new episodes coming down the pike because, as you can see, people just love to talk about TV around here. Make sure you subscribe to the blog, any one of our channels, our social media accounts, and stay up on new events and episodes. Old CPU episodes are available. Come to our website and search for it. Anything you want to know there. Buffy, if you want to stream it, catch up on it, rewatch it. If you're watching it a first time, I don't know what to tell you, but it's currently available to stream on Hulu right now, just Hulu. We will return to the Buffy-Verse series sometime in the near future. Our 3rd episode will actually cross over to the spin-off to discuss seasons 1 and 2 of Angel. So until that time, until our next podcast episode, which are published every Wednesday, keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye-bye.